r/AmItheAsshole for exposing my cousin's fake charity at family reunion. I stared at the bank statement in my trembling hands, the numbers blurring as my stomach dropped. Transaction after transaction from Hope for Little Hearts Children's Cancer Foundation, my cousin Sarah's charity, flowing directly into her personal checking account. $47,000 over 18 months. Money that was supposed to be saving dying kids was paying for her BMW lease and those designer handbags she'd been flaunting on Instagram. The coffee shop buzzed around me, but I felt like I was underwater. 3 hours of forensic accounting had just shattered everything I thought I knew about my family's golden child. Sarah, with her perfect smile and tear-jerking fundraising speeches. Sarah, who'd made our grandmother cry with pride at last Christmas when she talked about her babies in the cancer ward. My phone buzzed. A text from Grandma Rose, just sent another $500 to Sarah's charity. Those poor angels need our help. You should donate too, sweetheart. I wanted to throw my laptop across the room. It had started innocently enough. Sarah asked me to help with the charity's book since I'm an accountant and so good with numbers. She'd been running Hope for Little Hearts for 2 years, and it was growing fast. Family members shared her posts religiously. My Uncle Tom had organized a whole golf tournament for it. My Aunt Lisa hosted a wine night that raised $3 grand. But when I started digging into the financial records Sarah gave me, nothing added up. The expenses were vague. The receipts looked weird. And when I cross-referenced the charity's registration number with the state database, my blood went cold. Hope for Little Hearts Children's Cancer Foundation didn't exist. Not legally, anyway. No nonprofit registration. No tax-exempt status. No partnership with any hospital. Sarah had created a fake charity website, complete with stock photos of sad-eyed children she'd never met, and had been systematically milking our family for 2 years. The worst part? I found receipts in her files. Designer shoes. Expensive dinners. A weekend in Cabo. All purchased within days of major family donations to her cause. I'd called her immediately, my hands shaking as I dialed. Sarah, we need to talk. About the charity finances. A pause. Then her voice, suddenly sharp, what about them? I can't find any record of money going to actual cancer programs. The accounts don't. You're looking at the wrong files. No, I'm not. I've been through everything. Where's the money going, Sarah? Another pause, longer this time. When she spoke again, her voice was ice cold. You need to be very careful what you're accusing me of. I'm not accusing. I'm asking. Because if you start spreading lies about me, I might have to tell the family some truths about you. Like how you've been skimming money from Grandma Rose's account. My heart stopped. What are you talking about? You manage her finances, don't you? Have access to everything? I wonder what the family would think if they knew their trusted accountant was stealing from a sweet old lady. That's insane. I would never. Who do you think they'll believe? Me, with my charity work and community involvement? Or you, the jealous cousin who's always resented my success? The line went dead. That was 3 days ago. Tomorrow is our annual family reunion, and Sarah's planning her biggest fundraising pitch yet. She's already posted about it, something about a special presentation for the children who need us most. I'm sitting here with a folder full of evidence that could destroy her. But if I use it, I risk her destroying me first. The question is, what happens to our family when the truth comes out? I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Grandma Rose's face when she proudly wrote that check at Christmas, telling everyone how Sarah was making a real difference in the world. The betrayal felt like acid in my chest. By 3 a.m., I was back at my laptop, diving deeper into Sarah's digital footprint. What I found made everything worse. Her Instagram stories from the past 6 months told the real story. While family members were scraping together donations, believing they were helping dying children, Sarah was living it up. The timeline was damning. Uncle Mike's $2,000 donation on March 15th, followed by Sarah's post from a luxury spa weekend on March 18th, Aunt Carol's bake sale that raised $800 in April, then Sarah showing off a $600 purse 2 days later, gushing about treating herself. The most sickening part was her captions. Blessed to be doing God's work, folded hand sparkles, posted from a $200 dinner. Every donation saves a life. 2 hearts shared alongside photos from her Miami vacation. I screenshotted everything, building my case methodically. Bank records, fake charity documents, her social media timeline, even receipts I'd found mixed in with the files she'd given me. It was ironclad proof of fraud. But Sarah's threat kept echoing in my head. She was right about one thing, I did manage Grandma Rose's finances. Had power of attorney when she'd had her hip surgery last year. Easy access to her accounts for bill paying and investment management. If Sarah spun it right, she could make me look guilty as hell. My phone rang at 6 a.m. Mom. Honey, I'm so excited about Sarah's presentation today. She called last night to tell me about this little girl named Emma who needs emergency treatment. We're thinking of setting up a family trust fund to help. Your dad wants to contribute his bonus money. My stomach lurched. Mom, wait. Oh, and Sarah mentioned you've been helping with the books. She said you're being so thorough, really making sure every penny gets to the children. I'm proud of both my girls. I wanted to vomit. Sarah was already working her angles, making me complicit in her story. Mom, about that presentation. Gotta run, sweetheart. See you at 2. Love you. The line went dead. Another $10,000 about to disappear into Sarah's personal account, and my parents would be the ones writing the check. I spent the morning rehearsing what I'd say, but every scenario ended badly. If I stayed quiet, Sarah would bleed the family dry. If I spoke up, she'd nuke my reputation and probably succeed in making me the villain. Worse, what if some family members didn't believe me? What if they chose Sarah's lie over my truth? At noon, I got a text from Sarah, looking forward to seeing you today, cuz. Hope you're bringing your checkbook, face blowing a kiss. The emoji felt like a slap. I stared at my folder of evidence, then at my phone. One call to the state fraud hotline would start an official investigation, but that could take months. By then, how much more would she steal? How much deeper would she dig everyone's financial graves? The reunion started at 2 p.m. Sarah's presentation was scheduled for 4 p.m., right after lunch when everyone would be relaxed and generous. I had 4 hours to decide whether to detonate a bomb in the middle of my family. As I got dressed, my hands shook so badly I could barely button my shirt. In a few hours, I'd either save my family from a predator or become the person who destroyed our annual tradition forever. Either way, nothing would ever be the same. The parking lot at Uncle Jim's house was already packed when I arrived at 1:45 p.m. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, gripping the steering wheel, watching cousins I hadn't seen in months hug each other on the front lawn. My folder of evidence sat on the passenger seat like a loaded weapon. Through the windshield, I spotted Sarah immediately. She was holding court near the gazebo, surrounded by aunts and uncles, gesturing animatedly with perfectly manicured hands. Even from 50 yards away, I could see the Cartier bracelet catching the sunlight, the one she bought 3 days after Grandma Rose's last donation. My phone buzzed. A notification from the Hope for Little Hearts Facebook page Sarah had created. She just posted a photo of herself looking somber and angelic. Today I get to share Emma's story with my beautiful family. This 6-year-old warrior needs our help, and I know my loved ones will open their hearts. Every dollar saves a life. Hashtag Hope for Little Hearts, hashtag Family First, hashtag MS Army. The post already had 15 heart react emojis from family members. My cousin Jake had commented, "Sarah, you're literally an angel on earth. Aunt Patricia, so proud to have you in our family." I felt sick. There was no Emma. I'd reverse-searched every photo on Sarah's charity website. They were all stock images purchased from Shutterstock. But here was my family, already emotionally invested in a dying child who existed only in Sarah's imagination. I forced myself out of the car and walked toward the chaos of the reunion. Kids ran between picnic tables while adults clustered around coolers of beer and trays of potato salad. It should have felt normal, comforting even, but everything seemed surreal knowing what I knew. There's my favorite number cruncher. Uncle Mike's voice boomed as he pulled me into a bear hug. "Sarah told us you've been helping with the charity books. Said you're making sure everything's perfectly legitimate and above board. Smart girl, that's Sarah, getting a real accountant involved." My throat constricted. She was already using me as her credibility shield, telling everyone I'd vetted her operation. "Actually, Mike, about those books. Hey there, stranger." Sarah's voice cut through the air like glass. She materialized beside us, all bright smiles and designer sundress, giving me a hug that felt like a python constricting its prey. Her whisper was meant only for me, "So glad you could make it. I was worried you might not show up." She pulled back, still beaming, but her grip on my arm was tight enough to bruise. "Mike, I was just telling everyone how thorough my cousin's been. Really digging into every little detail. Sometimes I think she cares more about those sick kids than I do." Uncle Mike laughed. "Must run in the family. You girls are both angels." "Oh, I don't know about that," Sarah said, her eyes locked on mine. "We all have our secrets, don't we?" My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from her. "Folder in your car looks interesting. Would be a shame if someone misinterpreted your research as jealousy. Still time to be smart about this." The realization hit me like ice water. She'd been watching me. Had probably seen me sitting in the parking lot with the evidence folder. Maybe had even looked inside my car somehow. "Sarah, honey." Grandma Rose's voice called from across the yard. "Come tell your Uncle Frank about little Emma. He wants to make a big donation." Sarah's smile turned predatory. "Duty calls. Family first, right?" She squeezed my arm one more time. "Enjoy the party." As she walked away, I noticed something that made my blood freeze. Her purse, a limited edition Hermes bag that retailed for at least $8,000, was brand new. And yesterday had been the day our family group chat announced that Great Uncle William was liquidating part of his retirement fund to support her emergency medical fund. The presentation was in 90 minutes. I watched Sarah work the crowd like a master manipulator and realized she wasn't just stealing money. She was stealing their faith. I needed air. The weight of everyone's misplaced trust was suffocating me, and Sarah's casual threats had my heart hammering against my ribs. I ducked around the side of Uncle Jim's house, pulling out my phone to call my friend Marcus, another CPA who'd helped me analyze Sarah's fake documents. "Jesus, you sound terrible," he said after I explained where I was. "Look, I've been thinking about this since yesterday. You have enough evidence to bury her, but what? If she's as manipulative as you say, she's probably got contingency plans. People like this don't just threaten, they follow through. Are you sure you're ready for whatever she throws back?" Before I could answer, I heard familiar laughter around the corner. Peeking back, I saw Sarah had cornered Grandma Rose near the dessert table, both hands clasped around my grandmother's frail fingers. "The treatments are so expensive, Grandma Rose," Sarah was saying, her voice thick with manufactured emotion. "Emma's family is choosing between her medicine and keeping their house. I told them I'd find a way to help, but the charity's fund is almost empty." My grandmother's eyes were misty. "That poor baby. You know, I have some bonds I could cash in." "Oh no, you've already given so much." Sarah protested, but I could see the calculation in her expression. "Unless. I mean, if you really think it would help." I started forward, but my cousin Derek intercepted me. "There you are. Mom's been looking for you." He gestured toward Aunt Linda, who was waving me over to a cluster of relatives near the pool. "Actually, Derek, I need to talk to Grandma Rose." "It can wait 5 minutes. Mom wants to ask you about something important." He steered me away from Sarah and Grandma Rose, and my stomach churned as I lost sight of them in the crowd. Aunt Linda's important question turned out to be whether I thought Sarah's charity was legitimate enough for the family foundation to make a major contribution. "We're talking about $50,000, she said quietly. "It would be the foundation's biggest donation ever. But with your accounting background, and since you've been helping with her books, do you think it's a solid investment in these children's futures?" 6 relatives stood around us, waiting for my answer. Uncle Frank, Great Aunt Margaret, my parents who just joined the circle. All looking at me expectantly, trusting my professional opinion to validate what their hearts already wanted to believe. My voice cracked. I think you should wait on that decision. Wait. Dad frowned. Sweetheart, these kids need help now. Sarah showed us Emma's medical bills, the poor thing needs surgery next week or... He didn't finish, but the implication hung in the air. I felt trapped between the truth that would shatter them and the lie that was bleeding them dry. Where did you see these medical bills? I asked. Sarah has them on her laptop, Aunt Linda said. She's going to show everyone during her presentation. Real documentation, hospital letterheads, the works. She said you'd verified their authenticity. The folder in my car contained proof that those documents were fabricated. I traced the fake hospital logos to a graphics website. But standing here, surrounded by my family's hopeful faces, the evidence felt meaningless against their collective faith in Sarah's performance. I need to check something, I said, backing away from the circle. Before you make any final decisions, just, let me double-check the paperwork. As I hurried toward the parking lot, I heard Aunt Linda tell the others, see? That's why Sarah involved her. Professional due diligence. We're in good hands. The presentation was in 1 hour. And Sarah had just implicated me as her accomplice to the entire family leadership. I reached my car with shaking hands, fumbling with the keys as I tried to process what had just happened. Sarah hadn't just used me as her credibility shield, she'd made me a co-conspirator in the eyes of everyone who mattered. My phone buzzed with a text from my mom, so proud of you for helping Sarah with this. Dad and I are telling everyone how you verified everything. You're doing God's work. The evidence folder sat on my passenger seat like a bomb waiting to explode. But now if I detonated it, I wouldn't just be exposing Sarah, I'd be admitting that I'd allegedly verified fake medical documents, that I'd been complicit in what the family now believed was my own professional endorsement of the charity. Another text, this time from Sarah, see how easy it is to get people to believe what they want to believe. You're learning. I grabbed the folder and started back toward the house, but stopped dead when I saw Great Uncle William approaching with a checkbook in his hand. Behind him, my teenage cousin Amy was live streaming on TikTok, about to watch my amazing cousin save literal children's lives. This is what heroes look like. There she is. William called out. I wanted to thank you personally. Sarah told me how you've been working behind the scenes, making sure every penny goes to the right place. My Margaret would have loved this. His voice caught. She always said we should help children when we could. Margaret had died last year. William was donating part of his grief, part of his love for his late wife, and Sarah was going to pocket it like loose change. William, please, before you. I already wrote the check, he said proudly, patting his jacket pocket. 25,000. Going to present it during Sarah's speech. She said it would really help with little Emma's surgery. His eyes were bright with purpose. First time I felt like Margaret's memory was doing something beautiful. My chest tightened. William, about Emma. Dad's got his presentation voice ready, Amy announced to her phone, still filming. Uncle William's about to make a little girl's dreams come true. Sarah's charity is literally the most amazing thing our family's ever done. The live stream counter showed 43 viewers and climbing. This was becoming public in real time. Sarah appeared at the back door, waving toward us. 15 minutes until showtime. Everyone gathered by the pool. I have some incredible updates about our brave little warriors. I watched my family start moving toward the pool area, chattering excitedly. Grandma Rose was being helped to a front row chair. Uncle Mike was setting up his video camera for the family archive. Someone had made a banner that read, Hope for Little Hearts, with childish handprints all over it. Coming? William asked me. Sarah said she wants you up front, since you've been so involved. The folder felt heavy in my hands. In 10 minutes, Sarah would stand in front of 60 family members and lie to their faces about dying children while they emptied their savings accounts. She'd show them fabricated medical documents that she'd claim I had professionally validated. She'd probably ask me to say a few words about the charity's financial integrity. And if I exposed her now, I'd have to explain to everyone, including Amy's live stream audience, that I'd known about the fraud beforehand. That I'd sat on evidence while they made donation plans. That their trusted family accountant had watched them prepare to give thousands to a fake charity without stopping them. My phone buzzed one more time. Another text from Sarah, front row seat saved for you. Time to choose, family harmony or family destruction. What's it going to be? I stared at Sarah's text, my hands trembling as the weight of the moment crashed over me. Around me, my family was buzzing with excitement, completely oblivious to the disaster about to unfold. I had maybe 10 minutes to decide between destroying Sarah or watching her destroy them. Hey, you okay? I looked up to find my brother Jake approaching, concern written across his face. Behind him, I could see our parents setting up folding chairs near the pool. Jake, I need to tell you something. Actually, before you do, he interrupted, pulling out his phone, I wanted to show you this. I set up a GoFundMe to spread Sarah's charity beyond just our family. His screen showed a donation page titled Emma's Fight, Help Save a Life, with Sarah's fabricated photos and story. It's already raised $1,200 from my friends and coworkers. I tagged you as the financial administrator since Sarah said you've been handling the books. My stomach dropped. You tagged me as what? The financial administrator. You know, to show people it's legitimate since you're a CPA. He grinned proudly. Sarah thought it would help with credibility. The page shows you as the one verifying all donations go to the right place. I stared at the screen in horror. There was my full name, my professional credentials, listed as the financial oversight for a charity I'd never approved. Dozens of strangers had donated based on my supposed validation of fake medical records. Jake, you need to take this down. Right now. His smile faded. What? Why? We're helping sick kids. Just trust me, please. Take it down before. Before what? Sarah's voice made us both turn. She was standing behind us with that perfect smile, but her eyes were locked on mine. Is everything all right? You look a little pale. Jake held up his phone enthusiastically. I was just showing her the GoFundMe. It's taking off faster than I expected. Your story about Emma really touched people. That's wonderful, Sarah said, never breaking eye contact with me. Though I should mention, there's been a slight complication with Emma's case. I'll be addressing it in my presentation. What kind of complication? I asked carefully. Her surgery has been moved up. They need the funds by tomorrow morning or... She let the sentence hang, then continued with practiced emotion. The hospital called this morning. If we can't cover the procedure costs by 9 a.m., they'll have to postpone indefinitely. And with her condition, any delay could be... Jake's face went white. Oh my God. How much do you need? 75,000, Sarah said solemnly. I know it's a lot, but I've been praying about it all day. I think this family gathering is divine providence. Together, we can save her life tonight. I watched Jake's expression shift from shock to determination. He was already texting, probably spreading the urgent update to everyone he knew. The GoFundMe would explode once he posted about the surgery deadline. Sarah, I said quietly, can I speak with you privately for just 1 minute? Of course. Jake, would you mind letting everyone know we're about to start? I'll be right there. Once Jake was out of earshot, Sarah stepped closer. Brilliant, isn't it? The urgency creates immediate action. No time for second-guessing or lengthy deliberations. Just pure emotional giving. You're destroying them. I'm giving them purpose. Uncle William hasn't been this happy since Aunt Margaret died. Your parents are beaming with pride over your humanitarian work. Grandma Rose feels like she's saving lives. How is that destruction? Because it's built on lies. So is most happiness, she said matter-of-factly. Christmas magic is lies parents tell children. Wedding vows are lies people tell each other. At least my lies create beautiful moments. Behind her, I could see the family gathering around the pool. Someone had brought out a microphone. Great Uncle William was clutching his check, ready for his moment of memorial generosity. 5 minutes, Sarah announced loudly to the crowd. Then, quieter to me, your choice. But remember, that GoFundMe has your name on it now. If this charity suddenly becomes fraudulent, you're not just the whistleblower anymore. You're the accomplice who helped raise money for fake sick children. She walked toward the makeshift stage, leaving me frozen between the evidence in my folder and the trap she built around my reputation. The microphone squealed with feedback as someone adjusted the volume. It was time. I stood there paralyzed as Sarah's words sank in. She was right, my name was all over that GoFundMe now. If this blew up, I wouldn't just be the family member who exposed fraud, I'd be the CPA who appeared to have validated it. My professional license, my career, everything could be at stake. Testing, testing, Sarah's voice came through the speakers as she tapped the microphone. Can everyone hear me? A cheer went up from the crowd. I counted quickly, nearly 70 people now, including neighbors who'd wandered over and some family friends. Amy was still live streaming, her viewer count climbing toward 200. My phone buzzed with a text from my boss at the accounting firm, saw Jake's post about the charity work. Great PR for the company. Let's discuss featuring this in our community outreach newsletter. My heart hammered. This was spiraling beyond just family drama. My entire professional world was getting pulled in. Before we begin, Sarah announced, I want to thank someone very special. My cousin here has been the backbone of this operation, ensuring every financial detail is handled with perfect integrity. She gestured toward me. 60+ faces turned in my direction, smiling with approval and pride. My parents looked like they might burst with joy. Grandma Rose blew me a kiss. Come up here, Sarah called sweetly. Everyone needs to see the person who makes miracles possible. I shook my head, but the crowd started clapping. Speech. Speech. Uncle Mike called out, still filming everything. Jake appeared beside me. Go on, you deserve the recognition. I've never seen Mom and Dad so proud. He was right. My mother was actually crying happy tears. When was the last time I'd seen that? Actually, a new voice interrupted, I'd like to say something first. Everyone turned. It was my cousin David, Sarah's younger brother, walking through the crowd with his laptop open. My blood chilled. David was a computer programmer, the type who could dig deep into digital trails. Sarah's smile flickered for just a second. David. I didn't know you were coming. Wouldn't miss it, he said, but his tone was strange. Especially after what I found yesterday. The crowd fell silent. David's face was grim as he looked between Sarah and me. I've been following the charity's online presence, he continued, and I noticed some inconsistencies. So I did a little digging. Sarah's complexion had gone ashen. This isn't really the time for the photos you've been using, David interrupted, his voice carrying clearly across the pool area. The ones of Emma and the other sick children. I reverse-searched them. My mouth went dry. This wasn't how I'd planned for the truth to come out. They're stock photos, David announced. Purchased from medical photography websites. The hospital documentation uses fonts and formatting that don't match any real medical institutions. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I saw confusion spreading across faces, the first cracks in their trust appearing. Uncle William stepped forward, clutching his check. What are you saying, son? David looked directly at Sarah. I'm saying this charity doesn't exist. The children don't exist. The medical emergencies are fabricated. The silence that followed was deafening. Amy's phone was still recording everything, her live stream now showing over 400 viewers watching our family implode in real time. Sarah's mask finally slipped completely. When she spoke, her voice was ice cold. That's a serious accusation, David. I hope you have proof. I do, he said simply, turning his laptop screen toward the crowd. But then Sarah smiled, and I realized with growing horror that she still had one card left to play. Well then, she said, gripping the microphone tighter, I guess it's time everyone learned the truth about more than just the charity. The blood drained from my face as Sarah's smile turned predatory. I knew exactly what was coming next. Since we're sharing discoveries, Sarah said, her voice carrying perfectly through the microphone, maybe David should tell everyone about the financial irregularities I found in Grandma Rose's accounts. The ones our dear CPA cousin has been handling. Sarah, don't, I whispered, but she was already committed to mutual destruction. Thousands of dollars, mysteriously transferred out over the past year. Always when our family's trusted accountant had access to her banking information. Grandma Rose's hand flew to her chest. What? I don't understand. The crowd's attention ping-ponged between David's laptop screen showing the fake charity evidence and Sarah's devastating counterattack. I watched my parents' proud expressions crumble into confusion and horror. That's not true. I finally found my voice. I've never touched Grandma's money except to help her pay bills. Then explain the withdrawals, Sarah pressed, pulling out her phone. I have screenshots right here. Payments to credit card companies that aren't hers. Cash transfers to accounts she doesn't recognize. David looked between us, clearly realizing this had exploded beyond what he planned. Wait, Sarah, if the charity is fake, then she needed money from somewhere to make it look real, Sarah finished smoothly. We're better than an elderly woman's retirement savings. Who would question the family accountant helping with finances? Uncle Mike lowered his phone, his face dark with anger. Are you saying she stole from Mom? I'm saying look at the evidence, Sarah replied. Just like David did with the charity photos. My mind raced frantically. Those transactions Sarah mentioned, I knew exactly what they were. Grandma had been sending money to what she thought was Sarah's charity, but also paying off a credit card she'd maxed out buying things for great-grandchildren's birthdays. She'd been too embarrassed to tell the family she was struggling financially, so I'd been quietly helping her manage payments. But without context, those transfers would look suspicious as hell. Mom, my father's voice was strained, is this true? About the money? Grandma Rose looked bewildered, surrounded by 60-plus family members all staring at her. I don't know what money. Sarah said it was for the children. Convenient, Sarah said into the microphone. Blame the confused elderly woman. Stop, I said, my voice breaking. Just stop. Yes, I helped Grandma with her finances, but not because I was stealing. Because she was giving you everything she had. Prove it, Sarah challenged. The crowd was fracturing before my eyes. Half were focused on David's laptop, trying to understand the charity fraud. The other half were staring at me with growing suspicion about elder abuse. Amy's livestream chat was exploding with comments I couldn't see but could imagine. Uncle William stepped forward, his memorial check crumpled in his shaking hand. Somebody better start explaining what the hell is going on here. Is this charity real or not? Is my mother being stolen from or not? Both questions have the same answer, David said quietly, finally understanding the full scope. Sarah created a fake charity and manipulated family members into donating. Including using narrator's name, reputation to legitimize it, probably without permission. I never agreed to be listed on that GoFundMe, I said quickly. Sarah laughed bitterly. Right. Play the victim now. Because I am the victim. We all are. The microphone squealed with feedback as Sarah gripped it too tightly. Around the pool, I watched 2 years of carefully built family harmony crumble into suspicion and anger. And Amy was still recording everything. Enough. Grandma Rose's voice cut through the chaos, stronger than I'd heard it in years. She stood up from her lawn chair, all 4'11" of her radiating fury. Sarah Marie, you get down from there right now and explain yourself properly. The authority in her voice made Sarah actually step back from the microphone. But the damage was spreading. I could see side conversations breaking out across the crowd, people pulling out their phones, probably checking their own donations to the charity, or worse, screenshotting everything for later gossip. David, Uncle William called out, show us exactly what you found. As David angled his laptop toward more of the crowd, I heard gasps and angry murmurs. The stock photos were damning, professional medical shots with watermarks still partially visible. Even worse, one of the sick children was clearly a healthy kid in a hospital bed, probably from some medical website's promotional materials. Jesus Christ, Sarah, Uncle Mike breathed, lowering his camera. Please tell me this isn't what it looks like. But Sarah wasn't backing down. It looks like I was trying to help people and got overwhelmed with the logistics. Unlike some people who were actively stealing from family. I wasn't stealing. I shouted, my professional composure finally cracking completely. Those transfers were legitimate payments Grandma asked me to help her make. She was embarrassed about her credit card debt. Credit card debt she ran up donating to your fake charity. I added, the pieces clicking together even as I spoke them. Grandma Rose went very still. How much did I give you, Sarah? Sarah's jaw tightened. It's not about amounts, it's about how much. Grandma's voice could have cut glass. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands. I have the bank statements. Grandma, you authorized me to help track your donations for tax purposes, remember? As I scrolled through the files, my stomach dropped. The numbers were worse than I'd realized because I'd only been seeing Grandma's side. $12,000, I said quietly. Over 18 months. The pool area erupted. Uncle William started swearing in words I'd never heard him use. Aunt Linda burst into tears. Jake grabbed my shoulder, his face pale with shock. 12,000. Uncle Mike's voice cracked. Mom, that's almost your entire annual Social Security. Which explains the credit card debt, I said, pieces falling into place. Grandma, you kept donating even when you couldn't afford it, didn't you? Grandma Rose nodded slowly, tears starting to fall. Sarah said the children were dying. She said every day mattered. They were stock photos. David shouted, holding up his laptop. Look at this one, it still has the Getty Images watermark. But Sarah wasn't finished. Even if the charity had problems, that doesn't excuse embezzlement. Check her bank accounts. See where that money really went. Fine, I said, my voice deadly calm. Let's check everyone's bank accounts. I pulled up my banking app, hands steady now despite everything. Here's mine. David, can you project this on your laptop screen? What are you doing? Jake whispered. Ending this, I replied, entering my password. Sarah wants to see where Grandma's money went. Let's see where it actually went. As my account information loaded, I realized this was either going to completely vindicate me or destroy what little credibility I had left. Either way, there was no going back now. The crowd pressed closer to see David's screen as my banking history populated. Amy's live stream viewer count had hit over 600 people watching our family destroy itself in real time. And then my phone rang. The caller ID made my blood freeze. IRS Criminal Investigation Division. The phone's shrill ring cut through the chaos like a gunshot. Every conversation around the pool stopped dead as I stared at the screen displaying IRS Criminal Investigation Division. My hand started shaking so violently I nearly dropped the phone. Answer it, Sarah said into the microphone, her voice dripping with false concern. Unless you have something to hide. The crowd waited in suffocating silence. Amy had moved closer with her camera, probably getting the perfect shot of my terror-stricken face. 600 strangers were watching me receive what looked like the most incriminating phone call possible. I swiped to answer, my voice barely a whisper. Hello. Is this speaking with? There was a pause, papers rustling. I apologize, I'm looking for Sarah Chin regarding the Sunshine Children's Foundation. Relief flooded through me so fast I felt dizzy. This is her cousin. Sarah's right here, actually. I held the phone toward her, watching her confident expression falter. They're asking about your charity. Sarah's face went white. She backed away from the microphone like it was radioactive. That's not, why would they call your number? Because you listed me as the financial contact, David called out, still projecting my banking information. Remember? Your fake credentials weren't good enough, so you used your CPA cousin's reputation. The IRS agent's voice carried clearly in the sudden silence. Ma'am, we need to schedule an interview regarding discrepancies in the foundation's tax filings. Several donors have contacted us about irregularities. Uncle William stepped forward, his memorial check now torn in half. Put it on speaker. My finger hesitated over the button. This was about to get so much worse for Sarah, but it would also drag our entire family's business into federal investigation territory. Do it, Grandma Rose said firmly. I want to hear what they have to say about my money. I tapped the speaker button. The agent's professional voice filled the pool area like a death sentence. We've received multiple complaints about the Sunshine Children's Foundation. The organization appears to be operating without proper 501c3 status, and the financial documentation provided doesn't match reported donation amounts. We need to speak with both the listed founder and financial officer immediately. I never agreed to be the financial officer, I said quickly. According to our records, you're listed as the certified accountant overseeing fund distribution. Your professional license number is on file with the foundation's paperwork. My stomach dropped into my shoes. Sarah had used my actual CPA license number. This wasn't just fraud anymore, she'd implicated me in federal tax crimes. That's identity theft, Jake whispered, his face pale. Ma'am, the agent continued, we also need to discuss the cash withdrawals totaling over $40,000 that don't correspond to any charitable activities. 40,000. The number hit the crowd like a physical blow. I watched my aunts and uncles frantically pulling out their phones, probably calculating their own contributions to Sarah's fake charity. Officer, Uncle Mike stepped closer to my phone, how many people donated to this thing? I can't discuss specific details, but we're currently reviewing over 100 individual complaints spanning multiple states. The foundation appears to have been quite active in its fundraising efforts. Amy's phone was practically smoking from her frantic live streaming. The viewer count had broken 1,000. Our family's destruction was going viral in real time. Sarah finally found her voice. This is a misunderstanding. The charity is legitimate, we just had some administrative delays. Ma'am, stock photographs and falsified medical reports don't constitute administrative delays. They constitute wire fraud. The pool deck erupted into chaos as the full scope of Sarah's operation became clear. This wasn't just stealing from family, she'd been running a major criminal enterprise. And according to the IRS, I was her accomplice. The chaos that erupted after the agent's words was unlike anything I'd ever witnessed. Uncle William was shouting into his phone, presumably calling other family members who donated. Aunt Linda had collapsed into a chair, hyperventilating as she scrolled through her bank statements. Sarah stood frozen by the microphone, her face cycling through expressions of panic, rage, and desperation. Agent, I said, trying to regain some control, I need to make something very clear. I never consented to being listed as this foundation's financial officer. My license number was used without my knowledge or permission. We'll need to verify that through a formal interview process. Can you be available Monday morning at our downtown office? Before I could answer, Sarah lunged for my phone. Don't say anything else. You're making this worse for both of us. Jake intercepted her, physically blocking her path. Stay away from her, Sarah. You've done enough damage. I'm trying to protect her. Sarah screamed. She doesn't understand what she's admitting to. But I was done being protected, manipulated, or threatened. Agent, yes, I'll be there Monday morning. And I have extensive documentation of my grandmother's donations, plus evidence that my professional credentials were used fraudulently. Excellent. We'll also need to speak with Mrs. Rose Chin regarding her contributions. Grandma Rose straightened in her wheelchair. I'll be there too. I want to know where every penny of my money went. Grandma, no, Sarah's voice cracked. You don't need to get involved in this legal mess. I can fix everything. Fix it? Uncle Mike's voice was thunderous. How exactly do you fix stealing $40,000 from sick children? The children aren't real. David shouted, waving his laptop. Look at this. He'd pulled up more evidence, social media posts where Sarah had been posting pictures from expensive restaurants, designer shopping trips, and a weekend spa retreat, all timestamped during periods when she claimed to be visiting hospitalized children. Amy's live stream chat was exploding with comments. I caught glimpses over her shoulder, this is better than reality TV, someone call the police, that grandmother is a saint, and disturbingly, anyone know Sarah's Instagram? Ma'am, the IRS agent continued, oblivious to the mayhem around us, will also need access to all bank accounts associated with the foundation, including any personal accounts where funds may have been transferred. Sarah's composure finally shattered completely. This is insane. You're all acting like I'm some kind of criminal mastermind. I made mistakes, yes, but I never meant for things to get this complicated. $40,000 isn't complicated, Grandma Rose said quietly. It's theft. You don't understand the pressure I was under. Sarah whirled around, addressing the entire crowd now. Do you know what it's like being the family disappointment? Watching everyone succeed while you're drowning in student loans and can't even afford rent. So you decided to scam dying children. Aunt Linda's voice was hoarse from crying. The charity was going to become real. I was just borrowing the money until I could figure out how to actually help kids. The IRS agent cleared their throat audibly. Ma'am, we'll need you to come in for questioning as well. Today, if possible. That's when Sarah bolted. She dropped the microphone with a screech of feedback and ran straight for the pool house, her heels clicking frantically on the concrete. Uncle William started after her, but she slammed the door and I heard the lock click. Sarah, he pounded on the door. Get out here and face this. From inside came the sound of frantic rustling, like someone packing in a hurry. My phone was still on speaker, and the IRS agent's voice cut through our family's implosion. Does the suspect have access to any vehicles or alternate exits from the property? That's when we all realized Sarah wasn't just hiding. She was running. She's got car keys, Jake said, already sprinting toward the side gate that led to the front driveway. Her BMW is parked on the street. I could hear the pool house back door slamming open. Sarah was escaping through Uncle William's garden. Half the family took off running in different directions like we were playing some twisted game of manhunt, except the stakes were federal crimes and a woman fleeing law enforcement. Agent, the suspect is attempting to leave the scene, I said breathlessly into the phone while running after Jake. Ma'am, do not attempt to physically detain anyone. I'm dispatching local police to your location immediately. What's the address? I rattled off Uncle William's address while jumping over his prize-winning rose bushes. Behind me, I could hear Amy narrating the chase to her live stream. Oh my god, you guys, she's literally running. The cousin is fleeing the family reunion. We reached the front yard just as Sarah's BMW engine roared to life. She was behind the wheel, her reunion dress torn from climbing through hedges, mascara streaked down her face like war paint. Sarah, stop. Uncle William reached her car first, positioning himself directly in front of it. You're only making this worse. She rolled down the window, and for a moment I thought she might surrender. Instead, she started crying, not the elegant tears from her charity presentations, but ugly, desperate sobbing. I can't go to prison, she wailed. Do you know what they do to people like me in prison? People like you. Grandma Rose's voice cut through the chaos. She'd somehow maneuvered her wheelchair down the front porch ramp and was approaching the car with the slow, inevitable determination of justice itself. You mean thieves? I was going to pay it back. All of it. With what money? David appeared beside me, still clutching his laptop. Your credit cards are maxed out, your bank account is overdrawn, and according to these records, you haven't had a legitimate job in 8 months. Sarah's sobs intensified. I applied everywhere. Nobody would hire me. I have a communications degree and $60,000 in student loans, and the only jobs I could find paid minimum wage. So you decided charity fraud was a better career option? Jake's voice was incredulous. The distant sound of sirens cut through the suburban afternoon. Sarah heard them too, and her expression shifted from desperation to pure panic. I have to go, she said, revving the engine. Uncle William, please move. I'm not letting you leave, he said firmly, planting his feet. Your family, Sarah. We'll figure this out together, but running from the FBI isn't the answer. It's the IRS, not the FBI, she corrected hysterically. And they don't care that I was desperate. They don't care that I was about to be evicted. That's when Grandma Rose reached the car window. With surprising strength, she grabbed Sarah's hand through the opening. Sweetheart, she said softly, I've lived through the Depression, 2 wars, and your grandfather's gambling addiction. I've seen desperate, and this isn't desperate. This is selfish. Sarah's face crumpled. Grandma Rose, I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't put my retirement money back in the bank. The sirens were getting louder. 2 police cars rounded the corner, followed by an unmarked sedan that had to be federal agents. Sarah looked at the approaching vehicles, then at Uncle William blocking her path, then at the circle of family members surrounding her car like some suburban intervention gone horribly wrong. This is insane, she whispered. 6 months ago you all thought I was a humanitarian. Now I'm public enemy number 1 because of some accounting irregularities. $40,000 isn't irregular, I said quietly. It's criminal. That's when Sarah made her final, catastrophic decision. She put the car in reverse. The BMW lurched backward with a screech of tires, and for a horrifying moment I thought Sarah was going to mow down half the family. Everyone scattered like bowling pins, Uncle William diving sideways into his manicured lawn while Aunt Linda yanked Amy away from the car's path. Sarah, stop. I screamed, but she was already throwing the car into drive, tires smoking as she floored it toward the gap between 2 police cruisers that were still positioning themselves. She almost made it. The BMW clipped the rear bumper of the first police car with a sickening crunch of metal and fiberglass. Sarah's car spun 90 degrees, hopped the curb, and came to rest nose first in Mrs. Henderson's prized azalea bushes. Steam poured from the crumpled hood. The next few seconds felt like slow motion. Car doors slammed as officers and federal agents swarmed the scene. Sarah sat stunned behind her deployed airbag, powder residue coating her torn reunion dress like some twisted confetti. Is she hurt? Grandma Rose called out, and I was struck by the genuine concern in her voice despite everything Sarah had done to her. Ma'am, please step back, one of the officers directed us while 2 others approached Sarah's car with hands near their weapons. Let us handle this. Sarah wasn't resisting anymore. She climbed out of the wreckage on shaking legs, mascara and airbag powder creating an almost clownish mask across her face. When the first officer reached for her hands, she just nodded and turned around without being asked. Sarah Michelle Brennan, the IRS agent said, finally appearing in person, a stern woman in a navy blazer who looked like she'd dealt with this exact scenario before. You're under arrest for mail fraud, wire fraud, and tax evasion. As the handcuffs clicked into place, Sarah turned to look at all of us gathered on Uncle William's front lawn. Our extended family reunion had transformed into the world's most dysfunctional crime scene, complete with Amy still live-streaming the whole disaster to her followers. I want everyone to know, Sarah said loudly, her voice carrying that same commanding tone she'd used during charity presentations, this is all her fault. She nodded toward me. If she'd just minded her own business, none of this would have happened. The absurdity of the statement hit me like a physical blow. Even now, even caught red-handed and under arrest, she was trying to manipulate the narrative. My business. I stepped forward despite the officer's warning gesture. You used my professional license without consent. You stole thousands from our grandmother. You made it my business the moment you forged my name on federal documents. Details, Sarah spat. You always were jealous of me getting attention. That's when Uncle William finally exploded. Attention? You think this is about attention? His usually measured voice cracked with fury. You've destroyed this family. Your mother is having panic attacks, your father's talking about selling the house to pay for lawyers, and Grandma Rose has been crying for 2 hours straight. Everyone makes mistakes, Sarah started. Mistakes don't involve falsified tax returns, the IRS agent interrupted crisply. Or fabricated children's identities. Or forged medical documents. My stomach dropped. Medical documents. The agent consulted her tablet. Hospital records, treatment summaries, progress reports for approximately 12 fictional pediatric cancer patients. Quite elaborate, actually. Someone put considerable effort into creating believable backstories. David looked up from his laptop with a horrified expression. Sarah, please tell me you didn't create fake dying children. Sarah's silence was answer enough. Oh my God, Amy whispered, finally lowering her phone. You invented sick kids. For sympathy points. They were composite characters based on real cases. Sarah protested as the officers guided her toward a police cruiser. I researched actual children's stories online. You plagiarized dead children's medical histories, Grandma Rose said quietly, and something in her tone made everyone fall silent. The weight of what Sarah had done finally seemed to register with the entire family. This wasn't just financial fraud anymore. She'd commodified childhood suffering for profit. As the police car doors slammed shut with Sarah inside, the federal agent turned to address our shell-shocked family cluster. I'll need to speak with each of you individually, she announced, consulting a thick folder that apparently contained our entire family tree. This investigation extends beyond the charity fraud. My blood turned to ice water. What do you mean? Ms. Brennan listed multiple family members as references and co-organizers on various documents. We need to determine who knew what and when. She flipped through papers with the efficiency of someone who'd done this dance before. Several of you appear to have been unwitting accomplices in promotional materials. Uncle William paled. The photos I took at last year's fundraiser were used in grant applications to 3 major foundations, yes. The agent's expression was sympathetic but firm. Mr. Brennan, you're listed as the charity's Director of Community Outreach on 17 separate funding requests. That's impossible. I never agreed to any position. Aunt Linda grabbed his arm. Will, remember when Sarah asked you to pose with that oversized check? She said it was for her LinkedIn profile. The agent made a note. Mrs. Chen, she addressed Amy's mother, your daughter's social media posts generated significant donation traffic. We'll need to examine her accounts. Amy finally stopped filming entirely. Am I in trouble? I was just sharing my cousin's charity work. Probably not, but we need to document the paper trail. The agent's gaze swept across our group. Ms. Rodriguez, your financial analysis will be crucial evidence, but I need you to walk me through exactly how you access these records. My mouth went dry. In my rush to expose Sarah, had I crossed any legal lines myself? I used publicly available charity databases and tax filings. Everything I showed today was legitimate research. Good. But we'll need your computer for forensic analysis to verify that timeline. David stepped forward, clutching his laptop protectively. What about my records? I just ran some basic financial software. Also evidence, I'm afraid. Grandma Rose wheeled herself closer to the agent. Excuse me, dear, but when will I know about getting my money back? The agent's professional demeanor softened slightly. Ma'am, I have to be honest, recovery in fraud cases like this is typically minimal. Ms. Brennan spent most of the donations on personal expenses. We'll liquidate what assets we can find, but I'm out my retirement savings. Grandma Rose's voice was steady, but I could see her hands trembling on the wheelchair armrests. That's when the second bomb dropped. There's another issue, the agent continued, checking her tablet. Ms. Brennan's charity was registered in 3 different states under slightly different names. We're coordinating with authorities in Colorado and Arizona on related investigations. Uncle William's face went ashen. Related how? Similar operations. Fake children's charities, fabricated medical cases, identical promotional materials. We believe your niece has been running this scam for potentially 4 years, not 2. The implications hit me like a freight train. You're saying there are other victims? Other families she's stolen from? Multiple elderly donors across 3 states, yes. Conservative estimate puts the total fraud amount somewhere north of $200,000. Amy dropped her phone entirely. The device clattered on the concrete driveway, its cracked screen reflecting the chaos around us like a broken mirror. 200,000. Aunt Linda's voice cracked. Sarah's stolen $200,000 from old people. The investigation is ongoing, but yes, that's our current estimate. I stared at the police cruiser where Sarah sat slumped against the window and felt something cold settle in my chest. This wasn't just family drama anymore. This was organized crime. The aftermath stretched longer than anyone expected. 3 months of interviews, depositions, and court appearances turned our family dysfunction into a federal case study. Sarah pled guilty to 14 counts of fraud across 3 states and received 4 years in federal prison plus restitution orders that would follow her for decades. But the real resolution came on a quiet Tuesday evening when I drove to Grandma Rose's assisted living facility with an envelope in my hands. "What's this, sweetheart?" she asked, accepting the thick packet with curious fingers. "Your money back. All of it." She stared at the cashier's check, then at me. The agent said recovery was unlikely. It was. But Sarah's BMW, jewelry, and designer wardrobe sold at auction. The court seized her apartment deposit and garnished her commissary account. David helped me track down every asset. I sat on her floral couch, suddenly exhausted. Plus, I've been working extra clients to cover the difference. Grandma Rose's eyes filled with tears. "Honey, you didn't need to." "Yes, I did. She used my name, my reputation, my profession to steal from you. Every signature she forged was my responsibility to fix." We sat in comfortable silence while she processed the check. Finally, she folded it carefully and placed it in her Bible. "You know what hurts most?" she said eventually. "Not the money. I've lived through the Depression, money comes and goes. It's that she looked me in the eye every Sunday dinner and lied about helping children. How does someone become that cruel?" I thought about Sarah's final court statement, where she blamed everyone except herself, her parents' divorce, social media pressure, my jealousy, never once acknowledging the pain she'd caused. "I don't think she sees other people as real," I said honestly. "We're just resources to be used." That's the saddest thing of all. The family slowly began rebuilding. Uncle William started therapy and took early retirement, deciding life was too short for corporate stress. Aunt Linda joined a support group for fraud victims' families. Amy pivoted her social media to focus on fraud prevention, ironically gaining more followers than ever. David and I grew closer through the investigation process. Our shared obsession with financial details and evidence organization revealed a compatibility neither of us had expected. 6 months later, he proposed during tax season, apparently finding my spreadsheet organization skills irresistibly romantic. The wedding was small, immediate family only. We agreed that large gatherings felt different now. Sarah sent a letter from federal prison that I never opened. Some stories don't need epilogues. But the most important resolution came a year later when Grandma Rose called me into her kitchen. "I'm donating to the Children's Hospital again," she announced, showing me a legitimate charities brochure. "But this time, I'm volunteering too. Want to come read to the kids with me?" I looked at the genuine photos of real children receiving real care and felt something loosen in my chest that had been tight since the reunion. "I'd love that, Grandma." "Good. Because these babies need people who actually care about them, not about looking good on social media." As we planned our first volunteer visit, I realized this was what healing looked like, not forgetting what happened, but choosing to do something genuinely meaningful despite it. Sarah had tried to profit from fabricated suffering. We would honor real children facing real challenges. Sometimes the best revenge is simply being the person your enemy could never become, someone who actually helps others without expecting anything in return. The cycle of genuine caring could begin with us.